to be talking about the City Commission Nightlife Ordinance discussions. Taking place today, starting at 9 a.m. to noon. Troy, what are you looking forward to out of this wonderful government meeting here today? You're all dressed up to go?
Well, I mean, yeah, I put on a shirt. I got dirty jeans on. Let's just be clear about that. It's an ordinance, in my opinion, that's not necessary. I don't like when we put ordinances in place and they're not necessary. And in my opinion, there's a couple of actors that have acted up. They're trying to target those, but I believe everything that those actors are doing can be handled through the sound ordinance, which is already in place.
Right. Why are they not enforcing that if they've got a problem?
Well, that's part of it too. Is why aren't they? And the other thing is, they're trying to beat a deadline of October 1 with the state.
Right.
And instead of like going through the whole study and saying whether or not this ordinance is valid or not, they're trying to rush it through.
Right.
So
that's not a smart move.
And it already got shut down in the first reading. So the only two people that can really bring it back are Commissioner Garris and Commissioner Springfield. And those aren't the two that are pushing for it. So it'll be interesting to see the way it plays out. There's some businesses that have taken some legal action already on this, so they're already costing the residents money.
Wow!
And is it if they put this ordinance in place, is it going to happen the same way I said about the last time I said they shouldn't do that? It's not lawful. They lost in arbitration.
Yeah.
Is that going to end up in the exact same spot? So I'm just going to be a bystander today. There's enough angry people that have more skin in the game than I do.
Yeah.
But I want to see what's happening.
Businesses downtown,
yeah.
don't you? I mean, you
but none of mine do stay open after midnight on a normal, and that's the ones it affects. But still, it's people that I work with and I'm close to that it does affect. Yeah. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on it. So we'll see how the workshop plays out. But there are some heavy hitters that have already hired some legal, which is never good for the city.
Right.
If they're doing it prior to the ordinance being in place, there's a problem with the ordinance.
They're getting ready.
So these are smart people that have spent their money to fight it, and it's not even in place yet.
Right.
So it usually is not a good sign for the city doing the right thing there.
And again, I'll be very interested to see if Nancy Sikes-Kline or any of the other commissioners do try to bring this back up, because the city attorney kind of left the door open for them. Not that that's legal for them to do. However, the city attorney kind of mentioned that they could if they wanted to. However, again, they can't. The Roberts Rule kind of prevents them from doing that, correct?
Yeah. Well, if they do it, then there'll probably be a class action suit. That's harder to say. I can say it better drunk, I think.
Class words action. Troy can say better drunk.
No
suit.
cap.
I have too much blood in my alcohol system.
Okay.
But it's going to come against the city, I think, if they try and do that. So that opens up a whole nother legal issue if they try and do it that way.
So nobody legally can bring this back except for Jim Springfield or Cynthia Garris, because they were the ones who rejected it in the first place.
They're the ones that voted it down. It didn't pass, so that's a down vote, and they're the only two that can bring it back. And there's law always has some different interpretations and stuff like that, but this is one. This is one they'll get themselves in trouble on if they attempt to do so.
Yeah.
So
you've said that before too.
Yeah, and usually when Troy says stuff about legal things, as it pertains to government,
it hits different.
I've been through a lot of them.
Yeah.
So it's
coming from experience on.
Yeah,
seriously.
I've been sued so many times.
You know how it works.
It's not your first rodeo.
They're like, deposition again, Mr. Blevins? Because there's only like 3 companies that take depositions.
And again, this is happening from 9 to noon. These discussions are going to happen. Now, tell me, Troy, is this just like a discussion thing? Can they even take action on this if they wanted to?
They can't take any action today.
Okay.
So today is a workshop.
Oh.
So there won't be any vote. There won't be anything. It'll be an informational gathering, and some clarification of some of the comments. And then they're going to try. What they're going to try and do is they're going to try and bring this ordinance back as something different, which it has to be significantly different.
Yeah.
For the others to bring it back. But, politically, the ones that are pushing it need to kind of let it go. This is not where you want to die on the vine.
No.
There's a lot of great things you can do for the city. This is not one that needs to happen right now.
No. Yeah. I agree. And that's evident by how many times it's been rejected and just the kind of backlash that the community shows up and presents when this type of thing is discussed by the city commission, man. But when city
gets too involved in business is when they make mistakes. That's not what they do.
That's not their lane.
No, it's not their lane at all. And this to me, I think is they've gotten too involved in it. And I think the sound ordinance portion either needs to be cleaned up or enforced. One of the two. So don't create a whole nother law to do this.
Right. I think it's so goofy when you sit there and say, we need a whole new law to address a situation that we're not enforcing it. That's why it's not happening, because we're not enforcing it. So it seems a little goofy to me. It's definitely not something that residents or businesses are behind. I mean, who's behind this? Only the government people? Only the people in government are behind
I can promise you the city's not, or the business owners aren't behind it.
No.
They don't want more regulations on them. They got enough as it is.
Not even the residents. I mean, this is one of those rare cases where it's like, usually a lot of people are on the side of keep the city the same, don't change too much, blah, 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 blah. But this,
there are a couple. I mean, I'm sympathetic because there's some families that have lived downtown
right
for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're wonderful people, and they live in an area that's just changed and grown around them.
As
this ordinance doesn't change. Same bad stuff can happen at 9:30. That can happen at 12:01.
True. Right.
And you're living in an area that probably had 10 people walk down the street a week, and now it's 1,000 people a day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because of the growth of the city. It's not because of, the nightlife of two bars that people think is a problem.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's a target situation, and they need to kind of slow down. If it's a real ordinance, let it happen and let it be vetted through the state if you're going to do something. But this one's not
right.
This one's rushing it shows a panic within the organization, and they shouldn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It just kind of tells you that it's not the right time if they're trying to rush it through. It's just not the right time.
Yep.
We don't know if it ever will be the right time. And if it never is, the city needs to just let it go. I mean, trying to hardline and pound this thing through is just, you can't do that as city government. You got to listen to the people who put you in charge.
Well, I don't want to do anything that disrupts the number one business, which is tourism, in St. Johns County. And I know it frustrates people that we have so many visitors, but it's number one. I mean, 33% of our working population works in some type of hospitality in some way or another.
Yeah. Right.
So it's a huge number. So don't, it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right.
Yeah. It's like taking your car in to get an oil change and they go, we're going to change your transmission.
Yeah. For what reason? Right.
Yeah. It's not, change the oil.
Yeah.
You're fixing.
And especially being in a time where so many people, bro, I'm telling you, like downtown at those establishments downtown, some of those bars, some of those restaurants, an extra 2 hours, that's going to help people pay rent. I mean, that's going to help people
which they can't afford as it is.
Exactly. They can't afford it as it is, but another 2 hours.
So why limit them again?
In the restaurant or bar world, that could mean another $100 for some of these folks.
Oh, it's a difference. And well, they shouldn't have their hand in the business's cash register.
Right.
So, and that's what I feel like they're doing.
That's mob stuff.
Yeah. They shouldn't have your hand in the businesses. And they're like, oh, well, it's only going to be like $100 for the after hours permit. But that $100 is not what it is. It's you watching. It's basically the restaurant's paying to give the city permission to watch over them.
Right. That is literally a mob tactic.
Yes.
That's a mafia thing.
Yeah.
That's protection money.
That's and they want the businesses to be happy about this?
Right.
To support it?
Right.
Do you not understand business?
They don't understand business.
So
that's the thing, is the people pushing this don't understand business. I don't think they've ever been in business. So it's It's a tough one. I think a lot of people will appreciate you being there, Troy.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm probably going to
to
be a fly on the wall unless
Yeah, right.
unless they say something that just makes me
See,
my
here
head
we go.
explode.
Get ready for Troy to speak, because I guarantee you, just having been to some of these meetings,
You
I
better
guarantee
speak.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. So
People
well, I mean,
need you right now.
I was on that RHI group where they did the big study.
And
then the
people what
study-
the RHI is.
The study, the RHI is the group that came in that did the nighttime study.
Right.
I'm still a part of that group. I've been trying to get them to take me out of the Sunshine Law because there's certain people I can't even talk to about this. And
Responsible
the study-
Hospitality Institute.
yeah,
Okay.
and they came in and they did the study for the nightlife of St.
Why haven't
Augustine
they released that study?
because it sucked.
Because it's not favorable to them, correct?
No, it just, I mean, it was just, I literally could have written it in crayon and two bourbons.
Did they not want to admit that they paid like $50,000 for this study that's awful?
Yeah, it was, I think it was more than that.
Of course it was more than that.
But it was not good.
Okay.
And it didn't benefit either side, really.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like kind of telling us stuff we already knew.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
it was really, it was a nothing burger, I think is what the term is.
Reality
Yeah, I think if it would have come out favorable to the city's position, they would have enthusiastically released that already, right?
Mhm. Oh yeah, no, it was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I mean, it's still out there if you want to try and find it, but it was not worth the paper it was written on.
Mm.
Okay. All right. That doesn't surprise me. Does not surprise me.